How can holiday rental software help to attract bookings to your holiday rentals through channels like Airbnb and Booking.com? For some property owners, using marketing channels or websites like Airbnb is a vital technique to attract guests. But did you know that there are tools built into the holiday rental software that will maximise the impact of your holiday homes through these channels? But what are the pitfalls of doing it wrong and the key steps you should follow? That's what we're going to discuss today on Smashing Your Goals with Holiday Rental Software. But before we get started, I'd like to share with you an article that will help if you're not using a holiday rental software yet, or you're thinking of changing software for your short-let business. On our website, booksterhq.com, you can sign up for free for the article with questions to ask during a holiday rental software demo, an essential document if you're considering making any change. But now, on with the show. Let's start today's session with a little background on channels. Firstly, to clear up a little confusion, let's talk names. There is a surplus of names in this industry, generally referring to the same thing: the place online where a guest can make a booking for your property. So I'm talking Booking.com or Airbnb, Vrbo. In Bookster, we refer to them as channels, so that's what I'll call them today. But depending on who you're speaking with, they may also be called online travel agents, or OTAs for short, web-based marketplaces, platforms, portals, or simply just websites. To get the best results on channels, you need to get set up correctly, update your property regularly, and manage your guests with professionalism. Your holiday rental software can help. And this is a huge topic, so today I'm just going to look at 3 areas, and I'll come back to this topic in the future. When holiday rental owners first get started, they often just work with a single channel. Perhaps this is you. Perhaps you're just working with one channel right now. And more often than not, the channel that people choose is Airbnb. There is a good reason for that. Airbnb has been beautifully designed to be really self-service. It's so easy to get set up, it's really easy to manage, and it's very user-friendly for both property owners and guests. But time passes and people change. Perhaps you've gained more confidence in how to attract guests. Perhaps you're looking to try something new. So let's assume that you now want to work with Booking.com too. You'll need to connect your Airbnb booking calendar to your Booking.com booking calendar so that if a booking is made in one of the channels, let's say it's on Airbnb, Airbnb will tell Booking.com so you don't get another booking for the same date. It is possible to connect the Airbnb and Booking.com calendars together, and that can work really well. But let's assume that time passes and you want to try something else. Perhaps you want to run your own website. Or perhaps you want to work with a different channel. Perhaps your properties are really well suited to Vrbo, for example. And it's all starting to get a bit complicated. So this is the first way that software can help. It's communication. Your software is going to do the talking between the channels. In general, there are 2 ways that channels and the software typically speak with each other: iCal and API. iCal stands for Internet Calendar, and this is a nifty little tool that shares the book dates in an online calendar with another online calendar. It's basic, but it's pretty effective, and lots of people use these. Another way that a software can speak to a channel is using an API, which is called an Application Programming Interface. If you're anything like me, that name is really off-putting. So let's forget what it's called for now. The thing that you need to know is that an API shares lots more information than the iCal. And in your case, that could be sharing your property descriptions, the rates, your photographs, lots of other details. The other very cool thing is that the API allows more of a 2-way flow of information from the software to the channel and the channel back to the software. Now, when I first started working in the industry, an API was a bit overwhelming for me, but I read a description of an API that really helped me understand it. Let's assume you're making a cake at your house, but you've left the recipe at your friend's house up the road. You ask your child, let's say, to run up to your friend's house, get the recipe, and bring it back. In this instance, your child is the API. You're telling this child to go to a specific place to get specific information. It goes, gets it, and brings it back to you. It's really not so complicated. So although an API is much more sophisticated than an iCal, they both still have value, and it really depends on what you need for your business to which one you choose. So when you use software to do the talking, this means you don't have to. It will update your property information in multiple places at the same time, even while you're sleeping. And that is a huge benefit of using software. Let's consider a different angle. Let's think about support. Because life as a holiday rental owner or a holiday rental manager can be quite solitary. But good support can ensure that the data that you provide in the channel is correct for your property. The information and support provided by channels can vary wildly from non-existent black holes, saying no names here, to really responsive and helpful account managers. But your holiday rental software can provide you with human support, online support, to walk you through your connection process, ensuring that you've completed everything that you need to maximize your booking results and guest satisfaction. My recommendation is to talk with your software. Ask them, what support will they provide you to help you get set up on these channels? And what are their recommendations on how you can improve your results? Now, talking with your software, I've said it before, this should be a regular thing. In particular, because connections to channels change. They add new buttons, they add new functionality, there are new things that they require you to do, and you'll need to keep up with those changes. The third aspect to look at today is helping guests find you on the channels. Some channels, not all, but some work in a similar way to the search engines like Google. They have their own internal rules that will define how high up the page that they're going to display your property to your potential guests. The key to being seen by more people is to understand the rules. What is it that each channel values? We'll dig into this in more detail in future, but let's look at one small part today. Frequency of updates. In the simplest of terms, some channels are going to reward you for making regular updates to your property listing. So in your regular account meetings with your software company, they'll recommend that you make changes. Those changes could be adding new photographs to your listing. It could be the way that you describe your listing, maybe trying to change the appeal that it has, maybe appealing to a new market or a bigger market, or perhaps attracting guests at a different part of the year by using different language. When you make those changes, the software company is going to push them out to all the channels at one time. The channel in turn rewards you for making these updates, and it'll push your property higher up the page, so you'll be seen by more people, which can lead to more bookings. If you don't use software, then you'll need to remember that you should be making regular updates on each and every channel. Now, that's relying on your knowledge, it's relying on your patience, and it's going to take up your time. So software can really help here. Let's take a moment here. I'd like to remind you that if you'd like to try out Bookster and the tools that we offer, you can register on booksterhq.com for free, and you can check out some of the great tools that will help you run your short-let business. Moving on back to the second part of the podcast pointer. Each session, we'll look at one solution to help you overcome a problem. Today, the Bookster team has voted for a pointer on the yield management tool. The goal of yield management is to help you encourage last-minute bookings when you still have availability, so you can earn revenue from your property by making these dates more financially attractive to late booking guests. Bookster achieves this by automatically reducing the price as the check-in date approaches. You can set up Bookster to incrementally reduce your nightly prices over time according to your rules. You can set how many days before the arrival date to start reducing prices and set the maximum reduction. And your software will automatically reduce the prices on your website and on all those channels that you use until you get that last-minute booking. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Smashing Your Goals with Holiday Rental Software. If you liked the episode, or you know someone in the holiday rental industry that would enjoy it, please leave a review on podchaser.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you download and listen to your podcast. If you've got any questions, please do get in touch. You can contact us on our Facebook page, which is Bookster HQ, or you can contact us through our website, and there's more information there, and you can ask for a demo on how Bookster can help you at booksterhq.com. And remember, we believe that experiences matter, so whenever you're choosing a software service, make sure you choose one that considers your needs and the needs of your team and your guests.